Live from Rick Stotler Field on the campus of Florida Tech in Melbourne. It's Florida Tech Panther Women's Lacrosse as the Panthers host the Tampa Spartans on the Florida Tech Digital Network. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Jerry Durney here with you once again on the Florida Tech Digital Network. It's a non-conference matchup this evening as Florida Tech welcome in the number one team in the country, as well as the defending national champions in the Tampa Spartans. They are the standard that everyone, not just in the Sunshine State Conference, is chasing, but everyone in all of NCAA Division II is chasing as well. It'll be the first of two visits to Rick Stotler Field this year for the number one team in the country. Spartans will come back here in just about a month's time on Saturday, April 5th, and that will be the conference meeting between these two. And Kelsey Richardson, the big reason for having this is much like the way that Rollins and Embry-Riddle came here earlier on in the season. And that's, if we're going to beat these teams, we have to get used to playing them. And we have to make sure that they're not intimidated playing these teams. If you get that familiarity, you learn how to deal with these teams. And it raises your standard of play too. And already that's paid some dividends this year for Florida Tech, as a couple weeks ago they had the fantastic win against Rollins when the Tars were ranked, and then Rollins went out and beat a top 5 Adelphi team just a few days later. Panthers have won each of their last two. Of course, their last time out was just over a week ago when they welcomed in Colorado Mesa. Florida Tech cruised in the first half that day and won 15-8. They burst out to a 11-3 halftime lead, and really the game was never in doubt from there. And hoping to continue more of that tonight and hoping to pull off a stunner. They have never beaten a number one ranked team before. And also it would really be a great marker, as you know, we talked a lot with Tampa head coach Kelly Gallagher before the game, and she can sort of relate to that in terms of building a program, and she can relate to where Kelsey Richardson is right now in terms of what it takes to learn to win. Just about time for the starting lineups. So we'll give you the Tampa lineup first. Under Kelly Gallagher, who's in her 12th season. And she is the only coach they have ever known, and topped it off last year with a national championship, which we'll be talking about. In defense, it'll be Lexi Waters, the senior transfer from Florida, along with the senior Erin McLaughlin. They'll be joined by Isabella Avila, along with Katie Deshan and Delaney Starr and Grace Gilmore. They go with two in the midfield, and we can expect to see Sophie Risk, who is one of the leading scorers on this Tampa team and one of the top returning names from last year's team. They did lose a couple of big names from last year's title team, but Sophie Risk is one of them. Joining her as well in the middle, that will be Jenna Myhall, the junior from Suffern, New York. In attack, you can expect to see Peyton Howell, another one of the familiar names from last year's team, a transfer from Louisville. Joining her will be Isabel McGarvey, the sophomore, along with Sarah Engel. Engel is the top goal scorer for this Spartan team with 28. And in goal, you'll see Savi Barbosa, the 5'2 sophomore. So here's the 12 filled out tonight by head coach Kelsey Richardson. In goal, you'll see Bridget Robinson, who has been excellent over the past couple of games for Florida Tech. In front of her in defense, it'll be Abby Ogren, along with Bryce Forrest, Reese Belanger, and Ashley Walter. In the midfield, it's Phoebe Hurt, Michaela Whitman, and Claire McGuire. And there is one change in the attack, and it's a big one. Sophia Ciccoloni gets the start once again, along with Sophie Bender, but making her first start of the season. Bouncing back from injury is Carly Nero, and they could not have had her back at a better time. And joining those three, of course, will be one of the three captains, and that will be Jillian Craig, who has been on a goal-scoring tear here in 2025, and they're going to need every bit of it tonight. What a perfect time to have Carly Nero return from injury. She's missed the first 6 games, but you could not ask for better timing, and they'll be hoping for more of the all Sunshine State Conference form that Carly Nero put on last season and really has been one of the better attackers in the SSC during her time in the Crimson and Gray. It's time for the national anthem, so we'll step aside for a moment, and then we will be back with the opening draw here in Melbourne. Should be a good one. Number 21 taking on number 1. We'll be right back. Just about time to start here with Florida Tech. They are in their usual home white with the crimson lettering and numbering and the black trim. Tampa wearing their road red uniforms with the black lettering and numbering with the white trim. Our officiating crew tonight is Claire Eldred, Al Grimaldi, and Chelsea Holmes. 66 degrees at the opening draw tonight. Fair skies here in Melbourne. Wind is out of the southeast at 6 miles per hour. We expect the temperature to continue to drop down through the low 60s as this game goes along. Expect a overnight low of 50 here in Melbourne and no chance of rain expected until Monday. 11th all-time meeting between these two teams. However, the Spartans have won each of the last 5, and all of that coming since the start of the 2019 season. Last time Florida Tech beat Tampa was in the 2018 Sunshine State Conference semifinal. They've only met 4 times here in Melbourne. Florida Tech's lone victory coming back in April of 2017. Mentioned they've never beaten a defending national champion or number 1 ranked team. Their lone win against a top 5 team was against Regis back on March 3rd, 2020. Looking to change that in a big way tonight. Florida Tech will be going left to right on your computer screen here in this first quarter. Tampa coming in with a record of 5-0 on the year. Last time out for them was last Saturday when they were on the road against Lee. They had 2 games in Tennessee last weekend, and they won those 2 by a combined 50-8. Florida Tech have kind of been shuffling the face-off duties over the past couple of games. We've seen Marin Crowley, we've seen Phoebe Hurd, but the leader's been Claire McGuire, and she's at the face-off dot now. And she'll be matched up with Lexi Waters to start. This is one of those measuring stick games for Florida Tech, a team that feels like they've gotten better and working to get better and trying to get back into the upper tier of the competition in the Sunshine State Conference. And this will be a good marker for that tonight. And of course, also, this could be a game of nothing won, nothing lost. Again, this is just on the regional record, not the SSC record. So, of course, a win would be monumental here tonight. But the game of true importance is in just over a month's time. But if you're Florida Tech, the win tonight would tell you just how far you've come. Mitchell McGuire's really progressed on the draw duties, and she's been fantastic with that this year. For Lexi Waters, she is tied for the team lead. It's her and Isabella Avila both have 21. We have our signal from Claire Eldred. We are just about ready to go here in Melbourne on a Friday night. And it's a violation, and that will go against Florida Tech. So the Spartans have the opening draw. And away they go, and this is a dangerous team. They have 3 players already with over 30 points on the year. And we mentioned that. This is just kind of what Tampa can throw at you. Florida Tech have 1 player over 30, and of course that's Sophia Ciccoloni. With it here is Sophie Risk, a senior from Baltimore. Transfer from the University of Maryland's been a big part of what they accomplished last year. And she'll set up the first goal for Tampa right out of the gate. The Spartans have the lead after 32 seconds. And it was Peyton Howell, the junior transfer from Louisville, who put it home. And for Howell, that is her 20th goal of the year. And the Spartans now have 3 players with 20 or more goals on the season. Engel with 28, and Risk and Howell both with 20. Myhall has 14, and Isabel McGarvey with 11. So generally, you're going to look to those 5 to be the one that leads the way tonight for the Spartans. And that's going to be flipped into the Panther end and ultimately won by Michaela Whitman, who stays on her feet, and the Panthers look for their first attack of the night. Michaela's earned her way into been a regular, I believe, has started now all 7 games for Florida Tech here this season, and kind of made herself a pretty important part of the team last year, so not really a surprise to see her become a fixture this year as well. There's Phoebe Hurt. This is a Tampa team that has had to replace a little bit in terms of some of the talent from last year's national championship squad. As this is Craig, or I should say it's Bender, and ultimately saved. And we'll see which way the whistle goes, but it looks like it's going to be a free position opportunity here for Jillian Craig and Florida Tech with 13:39 to go here in the first. I stand corrected, that'll be Bender who's going to take the opportunity. And a screen set and another blown whistle, and all 3 officials immediately called it. So I believe we have a card. And I think that might be on Bender, and it is. We'll wait the word for the official ruling. So it'll be a 2-minute penalty against Sophie Bender for a dangerous play. So Florida Tech had the first free position opportunity and did not get a shot. So now Florida Tech will be a woman down for 2 minutes, and it's not a place you want to be against this Tampa team. Good to see the energy has not dropped at all for Florida Tech, at least so far, and they'll convert, and that looked like Risk who put it home. And not even 2 minutes in, Tampa already have a 2-goal lead, and that's just what they do. That is their 15th woman-up goal of the season. They are now averaging just shy of 3 per game. This is what they do. And I believe that was Sophie Risk who put it home for Tampa. And back to the draw they go as Tampa now lead 2-0. with 13:03 to go, as that was a releasable penalty. Florida Tech do win it, their second draw win of the night, but you can see how well this Tampa defense swarms. Nearly all of their starting defense is back from last year's team, and Kelly Gallagher said that's allowed them to experiment with what they have in goal. They have 4 goalies that they are each feel like they're pretty comfortable with playing heavy minutes, and that's bared out so far. For Savvy Barbosa, this is her second start of the year. She's played 60 minutes on the year. Peyton Butler has played 30. Paige Borkowski has played 84. Kylie Warnkin has been the quote-unquote main starter. She's started twice. Borkowski has started twice. Warnkin is the one who's played the most minutes. There's Bender behind the net, about halfway through the shot clock. And now being chased by 2 red shirts. It goes to Carly Nero. The pass was high. Over the bar, they find Sophia Ciccolone, and it looked like the shot was stopped, but the play was blown dead, and I believe that's going to be a card on Tampa. Or is that going to be another against Florida Tech? They're clearing everybody out. So it's going to be similar to the Bender penalty. 2 minutes for a dangerous play for Sophia Ciccolone. So the Panthers have put together 2 good-looking attacks, but have not had a shot yet. Well, they had created the turnover momentarily. Tampa win it right back, and that's going to be through Lexi Waters, senior from Smithtown, New York, a transfer from the University of Florida. I mentioned they had multiple first-team All-Americans who moved on from last year's team and graduated. And, of course, Cece Colombo, as the Colombo family had left their mark on Tampa lacrosse for years. And I'm sure no one in the SSC sad to see them go, as Tampa adds another one. That beats Robinson. Didn't quite see who had that. But Tampa have a 3-0 lead after 3 minutes and 49 seconds. Tampa doing exactly what they do. So far this season, this has been their goals per game. 26 at Rollins to start, 14 at a top 10 Maryville team, 20 against number 3 ranked Adelphi, 27 at Lincoln Memorial, 23 at Lee. They are ruthlessly efficient in front of goal. Leslie Richardson said the thing that stands out the most to her about that Tampa team, they're consistent in everything they do, and they are excellent in their consistency, and that's why they're the number 1 ranked team in the country. That's why they're the defending national champions. And that's where we have to be. If we're going to be the program that achieves the kind of things we want, that's exactly the kind of team we have to be. McGuire wins the draw. I mentioned it's a 4-goalie system. And a whistle, it looks like, against Tampa. And it's going to be a card. And it's a green card. And there's 2 Spartans coming over to the bench, but I don't know who's taking the penalty. So it's an illegal use of the stick penalty against Isabella Villa. And that'll be a 1-minute penalty at 10:56. I mentioned they go with 4 goalies, but for the past few years, they had the excellent Alex Walling in the cage. She was the starter for last year's championship team. She was a second-team All-America by the IWLCA last year. The one returning, I should say the other graduating player was Sarah Hinkle, who was a third-team All-American. As Florida Tech are on the board. And I believe... And I believe that was Ella Brophy who got it for Florida Tech. Put that home, and Florida Tech are on the board at the 10:38 mark, and that was just the shot in the arm they needed. And it's been a thing that Kelsey Richardson has been working on with her team this year. Is as much as it is the tactics and the physical part of the game, she considers it to be so crucial that you have to be excellent in the mental part of the game and your resiliency. And she said that was something that they were lacking in games last year. And Tampa and Florida Southern really were the two games last year that Florida Tech, you could argue, weren't competitive in. And every other game they were in, win or lose, they were in. And they had a chance of winning. And I think that's another thing that they're trying to change here tonight is, even if they were to come up short, to go toe-to-toe with arguably the best team in the nation would be a huge step forward for Florida Tech. And Tampa get it right back. And this is, there's going to be 55 more minutes in this game. And this is something that you're going to have to be prepared for. This is what Tampa do. They are just that relentless for 60 minutes. You don't get to where they are by accident. And Tampa get it right back and restore their advantage to 3. And we're going to say that just as Ella Brophy had scored her third goal of the year as a freshman. It's the third in her last 4. And Sophie Bender got credited for what is her 6th assist of the season. Howell was the one who scored for Tampa. That's her second of the night, and it's 4-1. This could be another one of those things where maybe the best defense is your offense in terms of they can't run it up if they don't have it. We've seen, I listed all the goal totals for you in terms of every game so far. Well, they can't get there if they don't have it. And a violation against Tampa will allow Florida Tech to take it. And that is their 4th draw win already out of 6. Hurt will play it over for McGuire. Another one of the freshmen who, it's been very true in recent years where you've seen the freshmen, you see 1 or 2 come in and are able to contribute meaningfully right away. Carly Nero, as we see her now, she was one in 2022 who did that. Sophia Ciccolone did that in 2023. We saw that last year with Sophie Bender and Michaela Whitman being able to contribute instantaneously and with impact. More so this year, it's been multiple freshmen who have been able to bring something to the table. And Ella Brophy being one of them, Claire McGuire being one of them. Reese Belanger's getting starts as a freshman. Maren Crowley has been excellent on the draw. And we talked about that yesterday with Kelsey Richardson. And I said, you recruit them, so you knew how good they were. But coming out of the fall, did you expect that they were going to be able to give you this much right away? And she said, I knew they were good. I didn't know they were going to be this good this early. And that's a great sign, not just for this season, but also for what lays ahead in the years to come. 16 to shoot here for Florida Tech, and it's Ciccolone. And from an almost impossible angle, is able to beat Barbosa. And that's Florida Tech's second, and that's Ciccolone's 18th goal of the season. It's her 33rd point. That might be her most impressive goal of the season. It might be one of her most impressive as a Panther. Against a good goalie in Barbosa from an extremely tight angle and went up high into the corner. I have no idea how she was able to score from that angle from where she was. Sophia Ciccolone is something serious, and it's 4-2. Back to the dot we go, and it's McGuire who has more than held her own against one of the best in the nation. And it's 4-2 with 8:51 to go in the first quarter. And for Sophia Ciccolone, that is career goal number 85. She needs 2 more to tie Jenny Boyle for 10th in program history. Spartans will win it off the draw here, and a whistle just as the play begins to unfold, and I think that might be a card on Florida Tech. And it's Charlotte Hardy coming back to the bench. And I think it's going to be a card on Charlotte. Well, it's going to be another illegal use of the stick penalty against Charlotte Hardy. Second time they've called that penalty tonight, but they have called it on both ends. So it's a 1-minute releasable penalty on Hardy. First action we've seen for her tonight, and it's not the way you want to start. But she will be vital nonetheless if Florida Tech are going to score an upset here tonight. Waiting, looking for the angle and scoring is Jenna Myhall. I mentioned that's another one of the goal scorers that has delivered plenty, and Kelly Gallagher pointed to her as one of the returners who have been such an important part of this team. And, we mentioned, when you lose players like, when you lose Colombo and Romano, you've got to have someone who can pick up that slack, and Jenna Myhall has done that plenty. That is her 15th goal of the year, and it's 5-2 Spartans with 8:28 remaining in the first. You're mentioning for Ciccolone, by the way, that is also career point number 152. She moved past Alexis Townsend last week. And now has sole possession of 6th place in program history. She needs 6 more to tie Mary Gormley for 5th in program history, as Tampa will win it on a violation, and a lot of contact there. And Engel was looking for the whistle, won't get it. It was McGuire who tracked it down, and Florida Tech are on the move, and this is where they're at their most dangerous. This is Jillian Craig with Nero, Bender, and Whitman joining her. McGuire in pursuit, and she'll play it onto the left now. Ciccolone and Craig will exchange position. Here's Sophia at her office, looking to make that extra pass, but we talk about that discipline for Tampa. And ball lost by Craig, and away go the Spartans. Craig had it, simply just lost it. And now here come the Spartans on the counter, and this could be especially dangerous. Hardy's giving chase, and now they'll go into their set, working behind the net. Could be an opportunity here. Looking was Audrey Wisdom, the junior. Nifty passing behind the net. And you're going to hear a lot of names called tonight for Tampa, and Kelly Gallagher said that's by design, as it's still so early in the season that they feel like they have the opportunity to experiment with some things. Even, playing a conference opponent in a non-conference game, you're still in early March, and you feel like you have that room to be able to go, all right, let's see if this works. Well, let's try this. Let's try this. And you can do that, and, regardless of the results, you get a better feel for the team that you want. Florida Tech able to clear. Walter found Whitman, and now it's going to be Charlotte Hardy being hounded by 2 Spartans. They play onto the right for Bender. Here looking to create some chaos in front of the net. Ciccolone with Bender, as Bender will lay it off. This is McGuire, who's kind of been a do-everything player here in the early going. She was originally listed as a defender. She's played midfield, and, you often see her now joining in the attack, as Craig, I believe, got stripped from behind there. And now she fell. It looked like there was plenty of contact. No call. In the area there was Lexi Waters and Aaron McLaughlin. Now Tampa having a little trouble there at the midway line. So over this goes to Maddie Sisluk. Should be diverted by Hardy. And they'll go to work. This is Risk. A lot of bodies in front of the cage here for Robinson to have to navigate. Back out up top it goes. And handling here will be Mary Kate Pearson. Transfer from LIU. And that pass was Aaron. Giving chase and unable to get there is Engel. So it'll go into the books as an unforced turnover, but the Florida Tech defense has been active tonight. So that won't be a caused turnover. You argue it could be. Listen, in terms of the pressure that Florida Tech have applied. As Ogren comes over halfway, and that's going to be a whistle against Tampa. And do we have a card? Because the player that was in the area when play is stopped is now coming over this way, and yes, we do. So it'll be a 1 minute illegal use of the stick card against Sophie Risk. Sophie, a 5'9" senior out of Baltimore, transferring from University of Maryland. When you hear somebody say the University of Maryland, you know, what's understood doesn't need to be said. Of course, Sophie Benders-Sidney, who was part of the powerhouse program there at UMD. Back out to Whitman. And being chased here by Waters. Into traffic for Hardy. And, boy, just no passes are easy right now for Florida Tech. They're executing them. But I don't think they're used to this kind of space. Or lack thereof. As Whitman wanted to pass it to Craig, but I don't think Craig was looking for it. And that pass simply goes plenty wide. And the Spartans will take over with 4:16 and counting. And they'll be able to kill off the penalty. So they are 2 for 2 tonight on the penalty kill. Well, I was about to say no trouble on the clear, but Hardy very nearly tracked that down. And that's what we're used to seeing from Charlotte. Just sort of an all-action midfielder in terms of she can get you goals, she can provide goals, and also will provide plenty of defensive play as well, and also has been great on the draws in her time here in Melbourne. A Tampa team that does not like to sit still. Some teams you see that they're very deliberate in the way that they run their offensive sets. And this is a Tampa team, to make no mistake, they know exactly what they're doing. You know, we talk about discipline, but you look at the movement and you can see why it's so hard to go up against this, as that shot beat Robinson, but it did not beat the post. Tampa get the rebound and they'll get a reset on the shot clock back to 60. It is very challenging for a defense, as that's going to be the first save of the night for Robinson. Bridget got in front of that one, and the rebound ultimately fell to Michaela Whitman, and away go the Panthers. Coming up on 3 minutes to play in the first. Whitman going into the center, got dispossessed. It's on the floor, and it's going to be won back immediately by Waters. This is the Florida Tech team that likes to get out and move. They do like to play at a fast pace, and I would say even for that this is by far the fastest game of the year so far, just in terms of the way both teams are just getting up and down the field. Now, we'll see if that holds up over the course of 4 quarters, because that's a lot of running for 2 hours. But so far, this has truly been a track meet, especially with the way Tampa's running their sets. Like we said, this is exactly the way that they want to play, and you see how much the ball's moving around. You see how much the players with the ball are moving around. And I have to imagine that's the way Kelly Gallagher wants it. And I think if you can create that much confusion in the defense, as long as there is that knowledge and that discipline amongst your players, you're going to feel pretty good about what you're doing. 35 on the shot clock, and good work there. I believe that was McGuire who had to redirect the drive. I'll tell you, it's going to take that kind of activity, and I believe Robinson got another stop on that one. And that's very essential for Bridget. And you got to imagine confidence is so much a part of the game, and Kelsey Richardson had talked about that recently with Bridget Robinson in terms of being able to flush goals from her system, in terms of just immediately letting it go as soon as it's scored, and being active instead of reactive. She said that was a big reason for the form that you saw against Rollins and against Colorado Mesa as well. And given the way it started, you worried if that could be happening again, but she has bounced back nicely. Coming up on the final minute of play in the first of what has been a wide open game to this point. There's 46 on the shot clock, so unless Florida Tech secure a rebound, Tampa will probably get one more look here in the quarter. Into the middle for Phoebe Hurt with 33 on the shot clock. And a whistle in the middle there for one of our officials, and We'll see what this leads to here for Florida Tech. Nero is the one with the ball. And that's going to be a free position opportunity, and Carly Nero generally does well with these. You'd feel pretty good about her getting her first opportunity of the season right here. It's Nero against Barbosa with 37 seconds remaining. And welcome back, Carly Nero. What a way to get it. Her first goal of 2025 comes against the #1 team in the country, and it brings Florida Tech within 2 with 34 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Didn't hesitate for a second, knew exactly where she wanted to go with that. Beats Barbosa, and it is 5-3.
By number 24, Carly Nero.
Back we go to the spot where Florida Tech and Tampa are dead even on draw control so far at 4. You can see the Panthers growing in confidence as this first quarter's gone along. They've gotten some good performances from their defense. They've gotten some good performances in the cage, and they've bought themselves some time in attack, and it's starting to show. Do need to get a stop here in the final 30 or so seconds of the quarter as Waters wins it. Hurt will go step for step with her as sort of drifts right, and this is as slow as we've seen the Spartans play all quarter. With it is Risk. They'll play behind the net with under 15 remaining in the quarter. They go low with a sweeping shot, and that'll beat Robinson, and that's just what you didn't want to see happen for Florida Tech. You know, they had played so well over the last 6-7 minutes of the quarter. You get that goal late, and you want to build on that going into the second, but Tampa fire right back with a goal of their own with 9 seconds left in the quarter. And Peyton Howell has a first quarter hat trick with 9 seconds remaining. McGuire back to the spot, and looks like she'll be dueling here with Avila. So far, the draws are 5-4 in favor of the Spartans, and that kind of feels pretty appropriate for where we're at the moment. Ball's still knocked around. That's really anybody's. McGuire's going to be there, and I don't know if, well, McGuire did win it before the buzzer sounds, as that will wrap up. Was a very active first quarter here at Rick Stotler Field. 15 in the books, and it's Tampa 6, Florida Tech 3. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Welcome back at Rick Stotler Field. Jerry Durney here with you on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Getting ready for the second after one of the more wide open quarters, any quarter that we've ever seen for the Panther women. It was a track meet on both ends, and Tampa currently lead at 6-3. A quick look at the first quarter stats. The Spartans outshoot the Panthers 10-5 in total, 9-4 in terms of shots on goal. Bridget Robinson with 3 saves. And for Tampa, Savvy Barbosa with 1. Both teams with 5 draw controls. Spartans have committed 4 fouls. Florida Tech did convert their 1 free position goal. That was courtesy of Carly Nero's first of the season. Both teams are perfect on clearances. Tampa's 6 for 6. Florida Tech is 5 for 5. Panthers have turned it over 4 times. 2 of them were caused. Tampa turned it over twice. None of them officially listed as caused, but we mentioned before that there was a few, at least one of those, you could tell that Florida Tech's defensive pressure may have led to it. For Tampa, Peyton Howell with a first quarter hat trick. Jenna Myhall, Sophie Risk, and Sarah Engel all scored 1. Izzy McGarvey had the 1 assist. For Florida Tech, Shickaloni and Nero with the goals, along with Ella Brophy. Sophie Bender had the 1 assist. The 2 ground balls were recorded by Michaela Whitman and Claire McGuire. McGuire with 3 draw control wins. Michaela Whitman and Phoebe Hurt had the others. Tampa slightly better in that first quarter, but you look at the stats and you can see Florida Tech certainly have a presence in this game. Now, Tampa certainly on the numbers and what we've seen, deserve to be ahead. But you wanted to see how much this Florida Tech team has grown since the last time they played Tampa. I can remember the first home game after the swing last year where they went to Tampa and then Florida Southern. And Kelsey Richardson really was not happy with the effort in that Tampa game and thought that, maybe Tampa might have been better, but I don't think we played our best that day either. And at least so far, Florida Tech appear to have learned from that and grown from that. But, as we mentioned early on, there's still about 44 more minutes to go in this. And it's going to take a 60-minute type of effort to be able to stay in this game against a team of Tampa's caliber, although Florida Tech will be a woman down for the moment, as it looks like Bryce Forrest will be the one that picks up the yellow card. It'll be a free position opportunity here for Tampa. Just 35 seconds gone here in the second quarter. Katie Hale comes on as a substitute. Florida Tech did make one other substitution at the moment. On the run-up, and that did beat Robinson. I thought Bridget had found that for a moment, but Tampa are on the board first here in the second quarter, and they've reinstalled their lead back to 4 with 14:23 remaining. It is 7-3 thanks to Sarah Engel, the 5'6" grad student out of Ocean City, Maryland. Transfer from Loyola University. Mentioned Kelly Gallagher in season number 12 at Tampa. She's the only coach that this program's ever known. She was named back in October 2012. Of course, we mentioned last year leading them to a national championship. And it was not an easy road. And matter of fact, she said the thing that maybe she's most proud of her team for that run last year to the national championship was, she said, we won so many games by blowouts early on, and then from about mid-April on, we were constantly playing tight 1 to 2 goal games. And that was true. They went to Lynn in the middle of April last year, won 10-9, and then won by 6, by 5, by 5, by 1, by 1, by 2, by 1, and then beat Adelphi by 5 in the national championship. won 4 SSC regular season championships and 2 tournament championships. Of course, last year, and maybe the most impressive part of that, going to Florida Southern last year for the regional and beating the Mocs as Bender under heavy pressure puts that wide. And do believe, looking to see, we might have had a goalie change for Tampa. I can't quite make out, but I think Tampa might have switched to a different goalie here for the second. And as we mentioned throughout the first quarter, Kelly Gallagher felt pretty confident in that. They've got 4 goalies, and they've all gotten sizable minutes so far. And she said with a returning defense, they feel comfortable with that. Clock is stopped, and I believe this could be another free position opportunity here for Nero. 13-12 to go in the second. Nero over, instead will play it for Claire McGuire, and they're going to work for a better shot. They may have one here. This is Bender. She was under heavy pressure, and they might have just earned it. Should be an opportunity here for Sophie Bender on the run-up, and the save made. And a big stop as Florida Tech had converted their first opportunity on the free position. They could not there. And now here come Tampa, and they're going to play this through Erin McLaughlin. Might take this all the way herself. That she'll play it behind the net instead. And you can't give that kind of space for Sophie Risk because she'll put that home. And she does. And that'll make it 8-3, the largest lead of the night so far for the Spartans, as Sophie Risk has her second of the game. And it's her 22nd of the season. And that'll make it an 8-3 Spartan lead. So we did figure that they did switch goalies, did Tampa, and they went back to what you would call maybe their nominal starter, and that's Paige Borkowski. And I say that because she's the one that's played the most minutes so far in the cage for Tampa. Borkowski, a 5'1 sophomore from Elverson, Pennsylvania, a Division I transfer from Youngstown State. Reese Belanger has been moved on to draw duty. Saw plenty of success for Claire McGuire in the first quarter. And Kelsey Richardson, I think, maybe just wanted to change things up a little bit. Ultimately, it's going to be 1 for Tampa through Isabella Avila, junior out of Worthington, Ohio. And they'll play across field already. It really is impressive to watch Tampa play with the pace they do in attack. And nearly had a run through on goal there. Clean strip, and Whitman flying with it after she was able to make the scoop. And might just take this all the way herself. It might not quite a one-on-one here. Does slow at the last second after took a couple of sticks. That's going to be a whistle there against Tampa, and I believe that's going to be against Delaney Starr, transfer from Indianapolis. This is the lone game in the SSC tonight. Florida Southern play at Lander tomorrow. Palm Beach Atlantic will host Georgian Court, and Lynn will take on Mount Olive in St. Augustine. Florida Tech will wrap up their 6-game homestand on Monday against another ranked opponent in Seton Hill. And then they'll be across the Southeast next weekend when they play Young Harris and Lander. 68 on the shot clock here for Florida Tech. It's Ciccolone looking for something to open. She's already scored once tonight. Plays it out wide. Said it'll go for Phoebe Hurd, and now into the middle for Whitman. Going step for step with Miranda Riccardi. A lot of traffic that was plucked out of the air. Florida Tech got it back on the, I looked like that might have been a giveaway, but Florida Tech have a fourth. And just what Florida Tech needed to stop the bleeding. A big one there for Florida Tech, and it's 8-4. But it is 8-4, and after Tampa had ran off, and it'll be credited to Carly Nero, and well, you didn't have to worry about where Carly was at. Already right back in form. She's scored twice in the first 20 minutes of her season. It is 8-4 with 10:26 remaining here in the first half, as Sophia Ciccolone will get credited for the assist. That is career assist number 68 for Sophia. She is now 23 shy of the program record set by Caroline Dunleavy. Really, the only question at this point is whether Sophia sets that before the end of the season or whether she does it during her senior season. Well, if Sophia improves on her sophomore season form, and I have every reason to think she is, more likely the former. But Tampa win the draw, and they are immediately going to work. And this is going to be a busy night for the Panther back line. It's one of those things where, and I mean, obviously I feel like you have to have this mentality with any team you play, but it's probably even more applicable with Tampa, is you kind of have to be of the belief that as soon as they're over the halfway line, they're in range. It's just with the way this team passes and the way this team moves, if they're in your end, it's a threat. Slicing through traffic and well cut off there. Nicely done by the two freshmen there. It was both Brophy and Belanger who cut off the dodge. That could have been a simple dodge down the middle, but the two cut it off, and then another one off the post there, it looked like, from Risk. Robinson knew about it, but I don't know if she was there in time. It did take a pretty sharp redirect. Tampa do get a reset back to 60 on the shot clock, so it is going to be paramount for Florida Tech to keep their concentration. This is Risk, and the whistle, I have that right. I believe that was Mackenzie Smith who got whistled. She'll have to play behind Risk on the restart. That's about as simple a feat as it gets. And putting that home was Maddie Sisluk, the freshman from Longmeadow, Massachusetts. Risk got the assist. And for Sisluk, that is her third goal in 4 games. And for Risk, that is her first helper of the night and 5th of the season. Enter the Panther end, and ultimately one is the draw for Tampa, and they will play this over to Howell. Product of Notre Dame Prep for going to Louisville, and a whistle against Florida Tech. Howell was named the USA Lacrosse Magazine Preseason Player of the Year and the Preseason Attacker of the Year. So there is a lot of expectation for her, but you can see why. Started 19 of 22 games for Tampa last year, had 73 points, 46 of which were goals, and was named to the NCAA All-Tournament team. It's a check to the head card against Ella Brophy, so that'll be a 2-minute penalty kill here for Florida Tech, although it'll be ended right there as Sarah Engel puts it home. For Engel, that is her third of the night, so a hat trick in the first half for Engel, who's now up to 31 goals on the year. As Kelsey Richardson wants to talk things over with her team, we'll take it with her. 8:06 remaining in the first half. It's Tampa 10, Florida Tech 4. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Jerry Durney with you. There is 8:06 remaining in the first half, and Tampa have outscored the Panthers 4-1 here over the space of the first 7 or so minutes of the second quarter. I mentioned Florida Tech wrap up their 6-game homestand. It's a 5-game homestand. They'll play Monday night against Seton Hill, who are currently ranked number 16 in the most recent IWLCA poll, which Florida Tech are ranked 21st. They'll go to Young Harris next Saturday, March the 15th, and then at Lander on Tuesday the 18th. And then they'll return here to Rick Stotler Field on Saturday, March the 22nd, when they take on a St. Leo team currently ranked number 8 in the nation. And since the last time we talked to you, Rollins beat Anderson last Friday. St. Leo beat Colorado Mesa by 8. Tampa was a 23-4 winner over Lee, as we mentioned. Flagler handled Palm Beach Atlantic 21-10. Lynn won at Indianapolis 9-8 in overtime earlier this week, with Indy currently ranked number 7 in the nation. Florida Southern breezed past Anderson 18-2. Then defeated Dominican out of New York on Tuesday 13-8. St. Leo won at home against Lenore-Rhine 17-4. On Wednesday, Embry-Riddle went to Flagler, their longtime rival, and beat the Saints 17-12. And then last night, Florida Southern handled Lee on the road 17-5, while Rollins defeated Lenore-Rhine 10-5. And a giveaway here, and this could be trouble for Florida Tech. Could be a one-on-one opportunity, firing and beating Robinson. Believe that was Howell for her 4th, and that's just what Kelsey Richardson didn't want to see coming right out of the timeout. They had won the draw, and then the lost turnover in their own end for Florida Tech. And Tampa are starting to run away from this. It is 11-4 Spartans with 7:47 remaining in the first half. And back to the face-off spot. And I believe they have put Claire McGuire back on draw duty against Waters, and that is the matchup, but it will ultimately be picked up. I believe that might have been Olivia Jacinto who won it for Tampa. Tampa started to dominate on the draw controls. They now have 10 of 17. Although that number a little more lopsided. At one point it was 4-4. Around it'll go and back out. With it now is Myhall. Near side right for Howell. Could be an opportunity here cut off by Belanger. They were trying to play it there from McGarvey. Robinson having to drift a little bit out of the cage there for defensive duty. And then a whistle will blow that play dead, but it will likely be a free position opportunity here for the Spartans. And the shot clock will reset to 60. And this is almost from the angle that they scored earlier on the free position. Played through traffic and ultimately won by Phoebe Hurt. And here come Florida Tech. Looking to stop the bleeding here and find a route back into the game. Ciccolone playing over for Craig. And now Bender. And it's been a minute since Florida Tech were putting some pressure on Tampa. Looking to change that here. Ciccolone behind the net, nearly fell, able to keep her balance. Played it over for, I believe, Nero. That is, setting up on the right side. And that's her office, so to speak. This is over for Hurt as we come up on 45 on the shot clock. 6:05 remaining in the first half as we see action tonight for the first time for Julie Andrea, another one of the freshmen. This is Ciccolone with Craig closest to her. She's being guarded here by Gilmore. Ciccolone into the middle, trying to find Andrea. The pass did not get there. McGuire able to track it down. Shot clock inside 20, and now it's Bender. Gonna run at 2. And inside 15 now for Florida Tech as Bender plays it back for Sophia. Shot clock down to 6, down to 5, and I think they were trying to get it to Craig. It's in the middle, and it's going to be one back for Tampa. Ultimately, out of that pile was Katie Deshan, the senior transfer from Butler. And here comes Tampa playing at that breakneck speed. I'd imagine there might not be a better conditioned team in the country, just given the way this team is able to play up and down. Credit Robinson, though, there with the save. Kept her composure. And away go the Panthers. Into the middle, it's Bender. Trying to play the pass ahead for Ciccolone. Low sweeping shot, and it's in. Sophia Ciccolone puts it home for her second of the night on the feed from Bender. Just what Florida Tech needed, and it is 11-5 with 4:37 to go in the first half. That's what a good transition goal should look like. Career goal number 86 for Sophia Ciccolone is she is now one away from entering into the program career top 10. 10th is Jenny Boyle, put up 87 in 3 years. And Sophia's about to match that in about 2.5. One of the most potent attackers Florida Tech have had really in their 10-year history. And you would probably say, I would say probably since you're going back to the days of Samantha Sciano. In terms of someone who can both score and provide. Tampa won it, and they are away. In the middle for, I believe, setting up there was Carrie Clausius. So we mentioned that Tampa will dig into their depth tonight. It's interesting. Kelly Gallagher had a lot of good things to say about this Florida Tech team in pregame, and she said, just the effort and the fight in this team is night and day from what we saw last year. And she said one of the things that she was told when she first started this job at Tampa, she said, was you're going to lose a lot early, then you'll lose by a little, then you'll win by a little, then you'll win by a lot. And she said, I feel like Kelsey's right in that middle spot right now. And it's interesting that that's kind of starting to be the book that's around the conference on this Florida Tech team, because you're talking before the Rollins game with Coach Short, and really it was the same thing in terms of just you have to play 60 minutes against this team, as I think Sophie Bender may have just picked up a green card. So it is an illegal use of the stick penalty at 3:11 here in the second quarter. So it is a releasable penalty, but it's been trouble for Florida Tech tonight is playing with a woman down, and even at even strength that's been trouble for Florida Tech against this Tampa attack. With it is Mary Kate Person, senior transfer from LIU. Back out and around it'll go. Fighting through and going right through Phoebe Hurd. I believe that was Risk. And Phoebe able to knock that down. Lost possession and won back. I believe that was Howell. And if that was, that's her fifth. And Tampa are back ahead by 7 with 2:33 remaining. Another woman up goal for Tampa. It should be noted that of the 6 cards issued to Florida Tech in this first half, Tampa have scored on all 6. It's a tough way to win. Tech do win the draw, and it finds its way to Charlotte Hardy, who very nearly took it all the way herself. The shot was wide, but Florida Tech will be able to play it back in through Ciccolone. Lays this off for Caroline Finn. We've seen for her tonight. Finn's been a very active part of the Panther offense over the past season plus. Round it'll go. Nero with the fake. Playing in, cutting on the left. Into the middle, had room, and I think was trying to get that to Brophy. The pass was broken up, and it's going to ultimately be won back by Tampa. We come up on 1:40 to play. So if Florida Tech can create a turnover here and get it back, they should get one more opportunity before the end of the half. Although paramount to get that stop. With it is McKelsey Montgomery, senior out of Hainesport, New Jersey. And back into the middle now for Myhall. So shot clock and game clock, it's about a 15-second difference. Over it'll go for Myhall and playing to the right. This will set up for Alexis Abe, the grad student transfer from UMBC. Pass got lost, and the whistle will be against Tampa. And trying to control it is Hardy, and that's going to be another whistle against the Spartans. So the clock is running, but Florida Tech have the ball well ahead of the shot clock, so they can play for the final possession and the final shot if they want it. Hardy trying to get it to Brophy. Couldn't bring it in, and that's anybody's ball there in the center circle. Won back by Brophy. And she's got to play that over to Ogren, a whistle against Tampa. And that's going to be a card. And it's going to be on Jenna Myhall. So it's a push, and it's a 1-minute penalty. There's 26 seconds remaining here in the half. So if Florida Tech don't convert, there'll be at least a woman up for the first 34 seconds of the second half. But ideally, you'd like to score going into the locker room. Down to 15. Finn going with it. Down to 10. This is Shicaloni behind the net being heavily pressured. We're down to 5. Over it goes for Nero. Ran into Finn. They've got to hurry. It's down to 2, down to 1. And the Panthers do not get a shot off. Although, did they signal for a free position there at the end of the, right at the buzzer? I did see the official make almost a hold signal. Well, the Panther attack has not left the field. They've stayed exactly where they're supposed to be. Oh, now they're coming back. So I guess there won't be a free position here, but Florida Tech will still have a woman up advantage with about 34 seconds when we start the second half. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then we will be back with the second half. At the intermission, it's Tampa 12, Florida Tech 5. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network.
At Florida Tech Athletics, we are driven by passion, commitment, and the unwavering support of alumni like you.
Your generosity makes a profound difference,
providing the resources our scholar athletes need to excel on the field, in the classroom, and beyond.
This year has been nothing short of historic.
With your support, our women's soccer team brought home a Sunshine State Conference championship, a victory that reflects their incredible dedication and hard work.
Our volleyball team reached new heights with their first ever regional tournament appearance, an inspiring milestone as they continue to thrive.
We also achieved an overall department GPA of 3.44, the highest in recent years, showing our dedication to the classroom.
Your contributions help us invest in the future of Florida Tech athletics, enhancing facilities,
coaching,
and opportunities for our scholar athletes to grow as scholars, champions, and leaders.
Together, we are building a legacy of excellence that will inspire generations to come.
During these 37 hours of giving, your participation, no matter the amount,
Fuels this mission and keeps our Panthers thriving.
thank you for being a vital part of our Panther community
and for your unwavering support of Florida Tech athletics.
Let's keep making history together. Go Panthers.
At Florida Tech Athletics, we are driven by passion, commitment, and the unwavering support of alumni like you.
Your generosity makes a profound difference.
Providing the resources our scholar athletes need to excel on the field, in the classroom, and beyond.
This year has been nothing short of historic.
With your support, our women's soccer team brought home a Sunshine State Conference championship, a victory that reflects their incredible dedication and hard work.
Our volleyball team reached new heights with their first ever regional tournament appearance, an inspiring milestone as they continue to thrive.
We also achieved an overall department GPA of 3.44, the highest in recent years, showing our dedication to the classroom.
Your contributions help us invest in the future of Florida Tech athletics, enhancing facilities,
Coaching,
and opportunities for our scholar athletes to grow as scholars, champions, and leaders.
Together, we are building a legacy of excellence that will inspire generations to come.
during these 37 hours of giving, your participation, no matter the amount,
Fuels this mission and keeps our Panthers thriving.
thank you for being a vital part of our Panther community.
And for your unwavering support of Florida Tech athletics.
Let's keep making history together. Go Panthers.
Women's Lacrosse has the championship trophy. Women's Lacrosse has the championship trophy.
Welcome back here on the Florida Tech Digital Network at halftime. Jerry Durney with you at Rick Stotler Field as Florida Tech currently trail Tampa at the break 12-5. And I do want to let you know that Florida Tech's 11th annual 37 Hours of Giving is happening now through tomorrow. This is our moment to come together as a Panther community to support our athletic programs and key university initiatives that make a difference in the lives of Florida Tech scholar athletes and contribute to our success. Together, we can rally the Panther pride and make a lasting impact. We want to thank you for being a part of the Florida Tech family, and we can't wait to celebrate with you today and tomorrow as part of the 37 Hours of Giving. There's plenty of happening around campus. We have the Panther paddle going on over at the Panther Aquatic Center tomorrow morning. I'll be at that. As you can find that on the Panther website. So we'll give a look at the first half statistics of this one. Is just about ready to start the third. Tampa outshoot Florida Tech 19-10, 17-7 in terms of shots on goal. Bridget Robinson recorded 5 saves in the first half. Tampa split the first 2 quarters between 2 of their 4 goalies. Initially, Savvy Barbosa got the start. She made 1 save in the first quarter, and then Paige Borkowski played the second quarter. She's played the most minutes of any of the Spartan goalies this year. She played the second quarter and did record a save there. Spartans with 11 of the 19 draw controls. They did commit 4 fouls. Both teams have scored once on the free position. Both teams are a perfect 10 for 10 on the clearances. Florida Tech turned it over 8 times, 3 of them caused. The Spartans have turned it over 6 times, 1 of those was caused. For Tampa, Peyton Howell, the preseason attacker of the year for the country for USA Lacrosse Magazine, with 5 goals and an assist. Sarah Engel with 3 goals. Sophie Risk with 2 goals and an assist. Jenna Myhall with a goal. Isabel McGarvey with an assist. Maddie Sisluk with a goal. McKelsey Montgomery with an assist. And an assist as well to Christina Sato. Of the 6 ground balls collected, Grace Gilmore had 2. That leads the way as Florida Tech are going to start. They don't even need the draw here because Florida Tech have 34 seconds left on the penalty that was issued to Myhall in the first minute or the final minute of the first half. So Florida Tech looking to make that count. Over it goes to Carly Nero, who scored twice in that first half for Florida Tech in this her first game of the season coming back from injury. Caroline Finn over to Sophie Bender with 10 on the penalty. Bender playing back out for Nero, some distance, but the pass was complete. 5 on the penalty, it's Phoebe Hurt. Ciccolone to a cutting Jillian Craig, and that was saved. And can't quite see who's in goal for Tampa. I want to say, well, it remains Borkowski as Florida Tech do chase down the rebound, and dispossessed and winning it is Lexi Waters. Also for Tampa, they caused 3 turnovers, 1 each for Sia Markowski, along with Peyton Howell and Jenna Myhall. On the draw controls, Engel, Waters, and Isabella Vila, all with 3. For Florida Tech, Sophia Ciccolone and we mentioned Carly Nero with 2 goals each, as Tampa may have a free position attempt coming up. And Ella Brophy with her 3rd of her freshman season. Sophie Bender with 2 assists, Sophia Ciccolone with 1. In terms of 4 ground balls for Florida Tech, Michaela Whitman had 2, Claire McGuire and Charlotte Hardy each had the others. An opportunity here for Bridget Robinson, and dispossessed, and I believe that was either Mackenzie Smith or Abby Ogren who disrupted the shot. And so Sarah Engel never really got to challenge Bridget Robinson because she didn't get the shot off. Robinson plays that over to Hardy. Now into the middle for Hurt. The 1 caused turnover in the first half goes to Michaela Whitman. Of the 8 draw controls, Claire McGuire had 4, Phoebe Hurt had 2, and Whitman and Brophy each had 1. That's a look back at the first half. Also should note it's, with it being the day of giving here at Florida Tech, a salute to the other athletic teams here at Florida Tech today as softball played 2 neutral site games up at Vieira And Sophie Bender is on the board for the first time tonight with her first goal. And for Bender, that is her 16th of the year. And just what Florida Tech needed, a little over 2 minutes into the second half. That will make it 12-6. It'll be an unassisted goal for Sophie Bender. And you need your big goal scorers in games like this. Well, Shickaloni has scored twice.
Sophie Bender.
Jillian Craig hasn't scored yet, but Sophie Bender with her first of the night. And it is 12-6. McGuire back out to the dot, but you're saying softball today playing up at the USSSA complex in Vieira. They were victorious over Bridgeport and Felician, both by the score of 8-2. And Panther baseball victorious this evening as they start a series at Palm Beach Atlantic. They beat the Sailfish 5-4. That's now back-to-back wins for the Panthers. They beat West Virginia Wesleyan earlier this week. They'll go for the series win tomorrow. Panther men's lacrosse are on the road this weekend. And they will play tomorrow night up at the USA Lacrosse headquarters up in Sparks, Maryland, as they will take on 17th ranked Mercy. So that'll be a pushing penalty on Tampa. Green card issued. Went against Isabel McGarvey. And Florida Tech will be on the woman up here with 12:30 remaining here in the third quarter, and that will go till 12:36, or I should say 11:36 on the clock. Florida Tech looking for what would be their first woman up goal of the night. Bender, Shickaloni feeding Craig, and Jillian Craig is on the board for the first time tonight. That is Jillian's 21st of the season. And all of a sudden it's 12-7 as Jillian Craig has scored in every game this season. You mentioned in her debut season here in 2023, she had 28 goals in 17 games. She now has 21 in 7 here in 2025.
Panther goal for the number 26, Jillian Craig. Assisted by number 16, Sophia Shickaloni.
Sophia Shickaloni will get credited for the assist. Career point number 155. And career assist number 69. A pretty nice career so far for Sophia. Now 22 shy of the program record set by Caroline Dunleavy. And more importantly, Florida Tech have scored twice here in the third quarter and instilled a little bit of belief. And it's Belanger, and Florida Tech will have won on a violation against Tampa. As Tampa switched Sisluk onto the draw duty there, and we'll see what that whistle's for. It will be Florida Tech possession. Well, they've blown that dead again, although another whistle. So it was a delay of game card against Tampa, and serving it will be Lexi Waters, it looks like. So that'll be another 1 minute penalty, although Florida Tech just converted there. And looking to make this one count as well. Around it goes, Nero into the middle for Whitman. Florida Tech get a goal here, and all of a sudden, they get a little interesting. Whitman to Shickaloni. Finding Bender, as those two have been so potent behind the net this year. Nero to Brophy in the middle, who has seen consistent, and probably her most playing time of the season here tonight. It's a lot of belief in the freshman, and she's paying it back. Bender tried to get it for Brophy, but the pass wasn't quite crisp, although a lot of contact there, and that should be a free position attempt here for Florida Tech. And it'll fall to Carly Nero, who will be looking for a hat trick in her first game of the season. What a great sign that would be for Florida Tech. Yeah, because you're not just thinking about tonight. As important as tonight is, there's still so much of this season left to be played, and you want to know what this team has. There's still 10 games left in the regular season after tonight. And you got to know what you have, and for Carly Nero to put that up would be massive. Although they do move Carly back a bit. And Florida Tech will go right back into their set with 10 seconds left on the penalty. Nero defended well, and now making her turn left. And referee had the flag up as Nero made her pass. The penalty is expired. But this could be another opportunity here for Florida Tech. It's Nero from some distance here. And I believe for Tampa, they have kept Borkowski in net. Trying to stop Carly Nero as the shot goes high, but Florida Tech had Bender ahead of the play. Then Florida Tech will keep it. They have applied a lot more pressure here to start the third quarter as Bender took a hit as she let her shot go, and that should be an opportunity here for Sophie. Tampa administered so much of the chaos in the first half, and they've kind of been on the business end of it here to start the third. Sophie Bender, who scored to get this ball rolling for Florida Tech, adds to it. Her second of the quarter, and we've got a 12-8 game with 10:44 remaining. It's Bender's second of the night. It's her 17th of the season, and it's her fourth from the free position. And all of a sudden, Florida Tech have a lifeline back into this game.
Pass and goal, scored by number 22, Sophie Bender.
It's interesting talking with Kelly Gallagher before the game, and I said, do you feel like anything's changed with this team this year in terms of, they've now seen, they now have proof of how good they can be. You got to the very top, and, does it change anything as far as being able to get, so much of this team is back from last year and, getting a team to get there again and have that hunger to go do it again. And, now having that target on your back of being the best team in the nation. And she said, we've been a good team for a while now, and, we kind of felt like that's always been there in terms of, we're going to be a marquee victory for teams. And, we know that we're going to get everybody's best game. But said it's been easy to motivate this team and get this team in the right direction because this is what they want. I think they've gotten that taste of success, and how could you not want to get back there after achieving those heights? I mean, it's intoxicating. She said so. It's been real easy to get this team to want to go to those goals again, and she said it's been easier in terms of not looking back at last year in the sense of, no two teams are ever going to be the same. She said the 2024 team was what it was. Players graduate, players leave, players go elsewhere. This team is its own identity. She said so it's been easy to kind of look at it from that perspective of, last year we maximized as much as we could, and it's up to this group to be able to do that again. She said it's been very easy for everyone that was involved last year to be able to ramp it up to try to get back there again. And she said, and I don't mind if there's going to be bumps in the road. And she talked about that stretch from mid-April right up until the title game where they were in a series of close games. And she said, you've got to be able to do that. She said maybe that's the biggest thing of winning a national championship is they have that perspective now and the proof of how hard it is to get there, that you're going to have to win 1 or 2 goal games. You're going to have to win overtime games. You're going to have to win games where you're not at your best. And they have that now. This could be a free position opportunity here for Tampa, and I believe that whistle went against Hardy. A one-on-one opportunity here for Bridget Robinson. The shot clock will reset. Run up here for Myhall. Well closed off there by Belanger. Right in front for Risk. Good spin move, and the shot wide. Well defended by Walter. The shot was off target from Robinson. Tampa do get it back, however, and I think we might have an adjustment on the shot clock. I don't know if it's going to reset to 60. It's currently paused at 31. I don't know if they signaled a free position either. So I think they're... Well, they did not change anything with the shot clock, but it's under 30 now for Tampa, who did not sound all that thrilled. Here's Mackenzie Smith, one of the seniors on this team for Florida Tech, defending heavily here. And around it'll go. Shot clock down to 10. This is Myhall being chased by Hardy, going through traffic, and I think that might have been a high stick on Charlotte. Shot clock at 7, but it's going to be a free position opportunity here for Jenna Myhall with 7:56 remaining. Hardy nearby, I believe Belanger is as well. Robinson is the one in between the cage, and I believe she got a stick to that, and the rebound fell to Claire McGuire, who will look to guide this to safety. Gets past Risk, she'll get over halfway, and Florida Tech deal with the free position and take care of the clearance. They play this up ahead to Caroline Finn, who was under heavy pressure there. Thought they might have called for the free position there. I thought she might have taken a stick to the head. This finds Bender, went with the shot fake and plays it back out. Florida Tech are now 12 for 12 on clearances. Both teams are 12 for 12 on clearances. Seeing some high-level lacrosse play tonight, as that will find a way through, as Claire Robinson able to beat Borkowski, and Florida Tech have ran off 4 straight to start the third quarter. It is 12-9, thanks to Claire McGuire's 4th of the season. That's goals in back-to-back games now for Claire McGuire, as Kelly Gallagher wants to call timeout with 7:13 remaining in the third quarter. We'll take it with them. 7:13 to go. It's Tampa 12, Florida Tech 9 on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Welcome back here on the Florida Tech Digital Network. The Panthers showing plenty of steel here in this third quarter. They have outscored the number 1 team in the country 4-0, and it is a 12-9 game. Still plenty of work to do for the Panthers, but they have not rolled over, and they've done that on more than one occasion this year. Of course, on the road against Wingate, literally until the final seconds, when Michaela Whitman scored from distance to force overtime there against a ranked Wingate team. They rallied from a halftime deficit against Lenore Rhine for a comfortable victory there, and then, of course, we had to dig deep to beat Rollins. And ultimately, whether Florida Tech completes the comeback all the way from here remains to be seen, but that almost might not be the point. The fact that just to see that this team is staying in this game and making Tampa sweat for it is a great sign for what this team could be going forward, not just in the future, but in this season. Does an effort like this ultimately win them something, a game later on in conference play? We'll see, but it's very heartening to see this team put together this fight and make this a game, because you were starting to wonder if this was going to be just too much for Florida Tech to deal with. And instead, they're bringing Tampa back into this game when I think the Spartans thought they might be coasting. If they were able to find a way to score the upset tonight, this actually would be the largest comeback win in program history. Although McGuire, I think, is going to get whistled there for an infraction. And it's going to be a free position opportunity here for Jenna Myhall. The largest comeback in Florida Tech history was April 7th, 2017. Florida Tech came back from 6 down against Regis that day. Myhall against Robinson with 6:22 remaining. And instead brings it back out. But playing in their sets, and you notice they've slowed down a little bit more. It goes back to Myhall. She's surrounded by 3, Mackenzie Smith being one of them, and there's the call. So it'll be another opportunity here for Tampa as the clock is stopped with 5:59 to go. No card. It'll just be the free position attempt. Closest to Myhall is Belanger. It'll fall on the shoulders of Bridget Robinson. Myhall on the run-up, and that will stop the bleeding for the Spartans with 5:55 left in the third. The Spartans restore their lead to 13-9 on Jenna Myhall's second of the game. And for Myhall, she's now up to 16 on the season. Myhall started 18 of the 22 games last year for the national championship team, had 25 goals. And she scored in 15 of those 22. Seems to be growing in stature for this Tampa team. If nothing else, if Florida Tech can keep it in this range for the final margin, it would be a marker of progress in the sense that since the start of the 2022 season, Tampa have won the 3 meetings by an average of 15 goals. Of course, won last year in Tampa 18-3. Their first trip to Rick Stotler Field back in 2023 was an 18-7 victory, and then a 20-4 win in Tampa back in 2022. So if Florida Tech keep this into, let's say, anywhere between 2 to 4, that would be a huge sign of progress for the program. And again, you could be reassured in the sense that they'll get another look at this team in just about a month. And what could they do then? Craig spins away from one and gets it back to Ciccolone behind the net. Trying to feed it in front for Nero, and the pass was wide. Bender trying to track that down and does, although 3 red shirts closing in quickly as she'll hug the sideline. Will stay in play, fights through it, and tried to get that over to Caroline Finn, and there's going to be a penalty instead, I think, on Mackenzie Smith, and that's going to be a green card. So it's going to be a 1-minute penalty against Mackenzie Smith for a push. So that penalty will expire at 3:47. This has been a problem for Florida Tech. They gave up 6 woman-down goals, or woman-up goals. They were down a woman, I should say. 6 goals were scored for Tampa off penalties in that first half. So it was almost the entire margin. And Florida Tech got a lot better at that here in the third quarter, and that's allowed them a way back in, although we have another stoppage here with 4:18 remaining. Now for the Spartans, this will be Sizzla. Circle now for Sizzla. Back around, we've seen Person. And ultimately, a ball was dispossessed there, and it found its way to Bridget Robinson. Florida Tech able to deal with it, and they kill off the penalty. Sophie Bender will be the one coming back on the field for Florida Tech, although that pass is intercepted. It's going to be taken, I believe, by Engel. And so Florida Tech have to hurry to get back into position. And I believe that's the first clearance tonight for either team that wasn't completed. And it goes for Mary Kate Person, senior from Jericho, New York. Running to the right, and that pass is a little off, but nobody was there, and that was able to be tracked down relatively easy by Sizzla. Katie Hale in defense for Florida Tech, having to deal with the immediate threat here, and Tampa find a way through, and it's through Isabel McGarvey, the sophomore, with her first of the night. And for McGarvey, that is her 12th of the season. And Tampa pushed the lead back out to 5, 14-9, with 2:49 remaining in the third quarter. The Spartans, that is their 19th shot on goal tonight. And Bridget Robinson's had a game effort. You're just seeing the strength of this Tampa team in terms of they have multiple ways to beat you. McGuire wins the draw, and she's going to go right down the middle here, although she will play it back over to Finn as they'll look to continue to pepper Paige Borkowski. Here's Jillian Craig. Got dispossessed, and we're going to see who ran that down. I believe that might have been Katie DeShan. Florida Tech may have something for themselves here at the center circle. Phoebe hurt, and that looked like Finn was there as well. Still hasn't necessarily been corralled, and now it is by Craig. That was a team effort. There were about 3 or 4 white shirts in the area that made that happen. Inside 2 minutes here in the third quarter. Hurt playing over to McGuire, and now for Nero out on the left. And now 60 on the shot clock, so about 25 seconds between the shot and game clock. Here's Hurt. And immediately 2 red shirts pull in. Into Sophie Bender, and all kinds of traffic. Has to pull back out. Looking for Phoebe, and that pass was wide. Tampa had it for a moment. McGuire giving chase, and ultimately able to run it down. No whistle. Clock continues to move. And it's Ciccolone behind the net. Inside 30 seconds on the shot clock, under 50 on the game clock. Back out to McGuire. Boy, you can get this to be a 4-goal game going to the fourth quarter. You have every reason to believe you're in this. Here's Craig fighting through traffic and firing on net and home as Jillian Craig has her second of the quarter. And this is a 14-10 game as we come up on about 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Although, are they waving that off? Wait a minute. They're not back at the draw spot. Well, it's going to be an infraction against Florida Tech with the high stick. And so the goal will be off. And Craig's going to have to serve a 2-minute penalty starting with 35 seconds remaining here in the third. Boy, that is a big swing. We went from this being a 14-10 game headed to the fourth, where now Florida Tech may have to start the fourth quarter a woman down. So Tampa will take over on possession with 35 seconds remaining. It was officially ruled a dangerous follow-through is the penalty that was assessed against Jillian Craig. Boy, that's a tough one. Actually, knowing what could have been, but Florida Tech have to get their concentration back because here come the Spartans. Running on the final 15 seconds of the third quarter. If Florida Tech can get a kill here, especially as the third quarter ends, but they are unable as My Hall puts it in, beating the buzzer. She's got a hat trick, and that'll make it 15-9 after 3. That's a tough one. Boy, Florida Tech were that close to it being a 4-goal game going to the fourth. Instead, they now trail by 6 after 3. We'll take a 2-minute break, and we'll be back for the final 15. It's now Tampa 15, Florida Tech 9. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network.
At Florida Tech Athletics, we are driven by passion, commitment, and the unwavering support of alumni like you.
Your generosity makes a profound difference.
Providing the resources our scholar athletes need to excel on the field, in the classroom, and beyond.
This year has been nothing short of historic.
With your support, our women's soccer team brought home a Sunshine State Conference championship, a victory that reflects their incredible dedication and hard work.
Our volleyball team reached new heights with their first ever regional tournament appearance, an inspiring milestone as they continue to thrive.
We also achieved an overall department GPA of 3.44, the highest in recent years, showing our dedication to the classroom.
Your contributions help us invest in the future of Florida Tech athletics, enhancing facilities,
coaching,
and opportunities for our scholar athletes to grow as scholars, champions, and leaders.
Together, we are building a legacy of excellence that will inspire generations to come.
During these 37 hours of giving, your participation, no matter the amount,
fuels this mission and keeps our Panthers thriving.
Thank you for being a vital part of our Panther community
and for your unwavering support of Florida Tech athletics.
Let's keep making history together. Go Panthers.
To the fourth quarter we go at Rick Stotler Field, and Florida Tech will have their work cut out for them. It started well as Florida Tech put home the first 4 goals of the quarter. And then Tampa scored the final 3, including right at the buzzer. And Florida Tech will have to play a woman down for the first minute 25. What may be a defining sequence in the game. Jillian Craig had initially scored, and that, for the moment, had made it 14-10. Or the refs judged her for a dangerous follow-through, which took the goal off the board, and it was an unreleasable penalty. So even though Tampa scored there to end the quarter, Tampa will remain on the woman up here for the next minute 20. And that goes wide, although Tampa did have players ahead of the shot. So Tampa will be able to play it back in. And Florida Tech showing a lot of fight to get back into the game as Tampa very nearly scored there, but that hit the post. Back out it will go. It was one of the things that Kelsey Richardson wanted to see the improvement from last week coming out of the Colorado Mesa game was, she said she felt like they had played really well for the first 30 minutes against Colorado Mesa and then kind of took their foot off the gas. And she said that had more to do with the fact that it wasn't so much that game as it is the games that lie ahead. She said, especially with the league we play in, if you take your foot off the gas before all 60 minutes are up, you might be inviting yourself for some trouble. She said it doesn't matter the score, it doesn't matter the opponent. We have to keep playing our game. And Tampa are showing why, as not long ago this was a 3-goal game. Not long ago it was 13-9. And now it's 16-9 with 14-10 remaining in this one as Tampa cash in for the second time on the advantage with this penalty. Christina Sato will be the one who gets credited for the goal. Sato, a grad student transfer from the University of Indianapolis. And Myhall will get credited with the assist as Tampa win the draw and are right back to it. There's about 20 seconds left on the penalty and a whistle. And Oh, is that going to go against Florida Tech? Their referee pointed the other way. No, and that's going to be a green card against Della Brophy. So for the next 18 seconds, Florida Tech will be 2 women down. It just gets tougher for Florida Tech. And we talked about that they had avoided the ability to let the game fall off the rails, and it might be happening right now. And I think this one might be more applied to what Tampa have been able to do, where, of course, Florida Tech haven't helped their own cause here, but sometimes you can look at what the opponent does, as Robinson's able to make the point-blank save right there. 6 on the night for Robinson, as they're able to kill that first penalty, or that one's finally expired. They didn't kill it. It's Whitman just trying to get this over, and then the pass gets redirected. It got knocked straight down, but Whitman couldn't get there, and it's ultimately won back by Lexi Waters. Loose ball ultimately will be picked up by Howell, the junior from Towson, Maryland, who has 5 goals and 6 points on the night. Bombed overhead. As Brophy will re-enter as her penalty has expired. And Tampa now in the midst of a 4-0 run. And it's been a game effort from Florida Tech, but we talk about standards. You're kind of seeing it put in front of you as right now as Tampa is the standard, not just for this conference, but the nation. And you're seeing why. And for Florida Tech, this is that lesson of, okay, if you want to be great, that's what great looks like. And you see more of it there, as Tampa have now made it 5 unanswered, dating back to the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. So in the last 9 minutes, Tampa have made it 5 unanswered. So Engel will get credit for the goal. That's her 4th. And Isabel McGarvey will get credited for the assist. She's got 2 now on the night. And it is a 17-9 Spartan lead with 12:14 to go. Tampa are off for almost a week after tonight. They will be back in action next Thursday at 11 a.m. And they'll have a pretty good one. They will welcome in University of Indianapolis, who are currently ranked number 7 in the nation, although they fell earlier in the week to Lynn. And then following Sunday the 16th, they will welcome in a pretty good program in Mercy, who are currently ranked 23rd. And then they will end non-conference play on the 19th against Pace, who are currently number 2 in the nation. And all 3 of those games will be at Tampa. Matter of fact, after tonight, Tampa play their next 4 at home, and they won't go back on the road until the last Saturday of the month when they go to Daytona Beach for what should be a good matchup with Embry-Riddle. Their conference opener will be on Wednesday the 26th in Tampa, and all eyes in the conference will be on that game that night when they play Florida Southern. So it'll be a cross-check penalty there against Risk, and that'll be a 2-minute penalty with 11:48 to go. And now a chance for Florida Tech to do something here and put themselves in a position to still make this game interesting heading into the stretch with 11:48 to go. Already getting pressure before she can get it over the halfway line, and it just speaks to the aggressive nature of this Tampa team. Is even with a woman down, they're not going to change the way they play. They're not going to change the way they defend. And I think that's maybe their biggest strength, is because of the pace and style with which they play. The fact that not even pulling back a little bit when when you're a woman down, that's got to be intimidating where you think even that doesn't put fear in them. 50 on the shot clock as Finn finds McGuire. And credit to the freshmen who have been very active tonight for Florida Tech. Well done for Florida Tech as they cash in with the woman up. And Jillian Craig will not be denied this time. That's her second of the night. And it's her 22nd of the season. And it's a 17-10 ball game with 10:57 to go. As Jillian Craig has now scored multiple goals in 6 consecutive games. Matter of fact, the only game in which Jillian didn't score 2 or more this year was the first game of the year against Flagler. She scored 1 that night, and then 4 against Wingate, 4 against Lenoir-Rhyne, 2 against Embry-Riddle, 5 against Rollins, 4 against Colorado Mesa, and now 2 against Tampa. As Craig brings her total to 22 on the year. Sophie Bender has a hat trick of assists on the night. She's up to 8 on the year. Sophie has 5 points in total. 25 on the season. It's good for second on the team. And this is a 17-10 game with 10:57 to go. Ultimately, Waters will be the one to win the draw as the draw numbers have kind of come back to even, although Tampa with that one will now make it 16-13. But Florida Tech were winning them initially, then Tampa surged ahead, then it got to even, then Florida Tech went ahead, then Tampa surged back in front, and now Florida Tech have made it respectable in that category again. One minute on the shot clock now for the Spartans. It's pretty interesting for Tampa that they've been a good team in the SSC for a long time. They had made 3 more NCAA tournament appearances prior to last year, but they'd always kind of bumped their head on that next tier. In 2019 and 2022, they lost to Queens in the first round, which, no shame there. Queens were an excellent program in Division II for a long time. They've now made the jump to Division I. And then in 2023, they won their first NCAA tournament game against Rollins. And then they ran into Florida Southern, which that's happened to many teams in this league. Florida Tech can attest. And then last year, they got the breakthrough. Interestingly enough, Southern won on Tampa's turf in 23 as the Spartans get their goal back to restore the lead to 8 with 9:25 to go. The Spartan bench has certainly come back alive with the run that they've been on. In fact, we are coming up on almost 10 minutes of game time, and in that span, Tampa have now outscored Florida Tech 6-1. But, you know, you can hear it a little bit on the Panther bench of, hey, there's 9:25 left. There's still plenty of game left. Risk will get the goal. Unassisted, that's a hat trick for Risk. He's now up to 23 on the season. You're saying in 2023, Florida Southern won on Tampa's turf, and then last year, Tampa won in Lakeland to knock out Florida Southern. And again, it was a tight ride almost all the way through for the Spartans. They beat Lynn 11-10, Florida Southern 11-9, Regis 17-16 in the Final Four, and then had some breathing room in the national championship game, which they won 13-8. And that game was honestly a little more lopsided than the score would tell you. They won that game. They were up 8-3 at half, and they were up 10-4 going into the final quarter. So even that doesn't quite do justice to just how dominant Tampa was in the national championship game against the number 1 overall seed in Adelphi. Spartans running their set and are content to burn some time. Firing and into traffic with it there, I believe that was Alexis Abe. Tampa able to use some of their reserves here now with an 8-goal lead. Florida Tech continuing with most of their regulars. Pass goes wide, and will that stay in play? It does. Although the shot clock's now down to 10 seconds. Belanger, the one defending Howell here, and another wide pass. And even if Tampa tracked this down, it doesn't matter because the shot clock has expired. First one forced tonight by Florida Tech. Credit for the Florida Tech defense for being able to dial back in, because we talk about that snowball effect, and as time starts to run down in the fourth and you realize, hey, this might be our night, that's when you have more of those lapses. But coming right off the goal, they came back and they were able to force the shot clock violation. And now Florida Tech looking to get it back and continue what's been a respectable showing to this point. And we may not even necessarily see the results of this tonight, but it'll be interesting to see I would say Florida Tech have played well. Obviously, not quite to where they need to be, but you turn around and you play another ranked opponent on Monday night, we might see the benefits of this on Monday night. One can hope. Here's Craig with under 30 on the shot clock. Tampa's defense has just closed off all the lanes on that side. Ciccolone plays it over for McGuire. McGuire with a good fake and has some room to run and fires and puts it home. Claire McGuire with her second of the night, and the freshman more than holding her own against the nation's best. Claire McGuire now with 5 on the year in 7 games, and it's the first multi-goal game of her collegiate career, and it's 18-11 Spartans with 6:24 remaining. Well done by Claire McGuire. She made that happen all by herself.
27, Claire McGuire.
A little head fake to the right, created all the space she needed, and then beat Borkowski from there. And for Florida Tech, it's their second goal of the fourth quarter, and it is an 18-11 game with 6:24 left. Ella Brophy on draw control duty for Florida Tech. And ultimately, it's going to be won by Waters, who has been excellent there tonight, although she does lose it out of bounds. For Waters, that's now her 6th draw control. They've had a myriad of ways to do that tonight. Myhall with 4, Engel and Avila both with 3, in addition to Waters' 6. Good move by Smith to shake the defender. Over halfway, and here come the Panthers. So we're under 6 minutes to play. And a whistle over on the far side of the field, and I believe that might be a card on Tampa. So Florida Tech will have a woman up here with 5:44 to go. We await the word on who and what. Well, it was an offside penalty, and that will be issued against Maddie Sisluk. So it'll be a 1-minute penalty. So Florida Tech have the woman up until 4:44. And here they go. Nero finding Craig. Plenty of room to fire. Plenty of room. And I don't know if that was Craig's or if that got redirected on a rebound. But Florida Tech have put together a pair, and it is 18-12 with 5:26 remaining. Craig had the initial shot. I don't know if that bounced out and it got knocked back in. But either way, Florida Tech convert with So it was Craig who will get credited with the goal, so she's got the hat trick. And for Jillian Craig, that is her third straight hat trick. 5 against Rollins, 4 against Colorado Mesa, and then 3 here tonight. In total, it's her 5th on the season. She is up to 23 in 7 games. What a great story the redshirt junior from Merritt Island has been in her return from injury after playing in just 2 games last year. And she's doing it in all kinds of ways because she is also one of the 2 team captains. Leading by words and leading by example and leading with play as Florida Tech win the turnover back, although that'll be blown dead. There continues to be that resiliency and that steal from Florida Tech, which I think whatever the final score might be tonight, that might not necessarily show up to a lot of people, but if you've watched where this team's been the past couple of years and you've seen them in these situations before, to see them against a Tampa team that has played very well, and we know how good this Tampa team can be, I think they've played pretty well here tonight. For Florida Tech to take those punches and keep themselves in this, I think it is a big mark for them, and feels like a pretty good harbinger of what could be to come here in 2025 for the Panthers. Here's Risk. Being defended here by Walter, one of the other 2 season captains for Florida Tech. And I don't know if that got blown dead. No, it didn't. Everybody just sort of came to a standstill there. Around it goes. Back out for Risk. Walter will meet her again. Into the inside, and good movement, and I think that got by Robinson, but it caught the post. Tampa get the rebound, and that'll reset the shot clock back out to 60. We're under 4 minutes to play in this one. And it goes back out with 45 on the shot clock, back out to Myhall. Out it goes. Under 30. Tampa almost in their clock-killing offense at this point as the shot from Alexis Abe goes wide. I should say it's Howell that it went wide. Shot clock down to 12. Here's Myhall getting away from 1 and from 2. And the shot was saved, but I believe the whistle was right before the shot. Clock stopped with 2:55 to play. Looks like it's going to be a free position opportunity here for Tampa. And a one-on-one opportunity for Jenna Myhall against Bridget Robinson, who has stopped 8 Spartan shots tonight. She's got the full support of her bench. And the shot gets by Robinson on the bounce. Myhall puts it home. She took a pretty good lick as she let that go. It's Myhall's 4th of the game and her 18th of the season. And it is now a 19-12 Tampa lead with 2:51 remaining. And Myhall still a little slow getting to her feet. And they will call for the trainers. We'll hope to see her up on her feet soon. So likely for Tampa at this point, they are looking at what would be a 5-0 start. I should say that would be a 6-0 start. Spartans' last loss almost a year ago. That was back on March 29th of last season at Florida Southern. They only lost that game by a goal. And even in that game, Tampa very nearly completed a comeback. Tampa lost just 3 games last year as Myhall is to her feet. Southern was one of them. They were number 7 at the time. They lost to Pace on the road when the Setters were the number 1 team in the country, and they lost at home to Adelphi when they were number 4 in the nation. This kind of shows you the caliber of team you have to be able to beat this Tampa team. But My Hall is back to her feet and onto the sideline, although she did need assistance. So hopefully that's just a scare. You certainly wouldn't want to see anything major there. We'll hope that she's all right as the trainers and the coaching staff taking her off. They are back at the draw spot. Tampa making their changes. Ella Brophy on the draw against Lexi Waters. Goes into the Panther end, but right into the stick pocket of Michaela Whitman. And away go Florida Tech. I'm going to continue to make this respectable as, well, he took a pretty good lick there. And if I have that right, I think that might have been Erin McLaughlin who knocked Whitman there. And that should set up an opportunity here for Florida Tech as the clock continues to run with 2:21 and counting remaining in the ball game. They'll work around, and the pass to McGuire is high, but it finds Craig. And now it's Bender to Shickaloni with Sophia looking for the outlet. Finn has to track that down. She's all the way over into the far corner. Looking for Claire with Whitman cutting into the middle. Claire will continue to hold as we're inside the last 2 minutes of this one. Craig getting hounded, and a whistle there against Waters. Clock continuing to run, 1:45 remaining. Shot clock holding at 49 seconds. And Florida Tech showing good account of themselves. It has been an even 7-7 score line here in the second half. Although it'll be one of those things where at 12-9, you wonder. Here's Shickaloni on the feed from Craig, and I think Barkowski got to stick to that to redirect it. And the game clock is now ahead of the shot clock, so Tampa can simply just run it out from here if they choose to. Although they are continuing at their breakneck pace, they might give it one more go here. Well, if this is the end of it here for Florida Tech, they've again given a good account of themselves, but we know this is a results business. Although Tampa do add one more with 45 seconds to go, and that'll make it 20-12 in favor of the Spartans. As Molly Shapiro, the senior, gets onto the board for the first time tonight. And now over the past 4 matchups, the Spartans have scored 20, 18, 18, and now 20. Very interesting the way this series has gone. The Panthers won the first 5, and the Spartans have now won the last 6. And a whistle will be against Tampa, and Florida Tech will have it. Clock continuing to move with under 40 seconds to play. Panthers not content to just let time run out. They were looking for something there, although that pass to Finn was wide. And there's under 20 seconds remaining, and I think Tampa might just run it out from here. And good showing from both teams tonight, although Florida Tech will certainly feel that they could have made more of a dent in this game, especially when they got it down to 3, and especially in the closing minutes of the third when they had gotten it to 14-10 again. But there was some work shown tonight by this Panther team, and still work to be done as the number 1 team in the country emerged victorious over the Panthers tonight, 20-12. So let's take a look at the final stats of this one. The Spartans outshoot the Panthers 36-22, 27-17 in terms of shots on goal. Bridget Robinson with 7 saves on the night. Savvy Barbosa did not record a save in her 15 minutes. She played the first quarter. Paige Borkowski had 5 saves over the final 3 quarters. Tampa win the draw control battle 19-15. Spartans with 8 fouls, Florida Tech with 7. Tampa were 3 of 5 from the free position. Florida Tech were 2 for 4. The Spartans were 15 of 16 on clearances. Florida Tech were 14 of 16. The Panthers with 14 turnovers, 8 of them were caused. Tampa had 12 turnovers, 4 of them were caused. For the Spartans, they were led by Peyton Howell, who had 5 goals and an assist. Jenna Myhall had 4 goals and an assist. Sarah Engel with 4 goals. Sophie Risk had 3 goals and an assist. Isabel McGarvey with a goal and 2 assists. A goal and an assist for Christina Sato. Molly Shapiro had a goal. Maddie Sisluk with a goal and an assist for McKelsey Montgomery. Leading the way for Tampa in terms of their 9 ground balls collected was Lexi Waters, who had 3 ground balls on the night. In terms of the 8 caused turnovers, Sarah Markowski had 2, as did Sarah Engel. For the draw controls, Jenna Myhall had 5, Lexi Waters with 6, Sarah Engel with 3, and Isabella Vila with 3 as well. For Florida Tech, Sophie Bender led with 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. 2 goals and 2 assists for Sophia Ciccoloni. 2 goals for Carly Nero in her 2025 debut. 2 goals for Claire McGuire. A goal for Ella Brophy as well. 6 ground balls on the night, 1 by Florida Tech. Michaela Whitman led with 2. Of the 4 caused turnovers, Nero with 1, McGuire with 1, 1 as well for Phoebe Hurt and Michaela Whitman. On the draw controls, McGuire with 6, Whitman with 3, 2 for Phoebe Hurt, and 1 each for Reese Belanger, Ella Brophy, Charlotte Hardy, and Mackenzie Smith. So for the Spartans, they are now 6-0 on the year. They are off till next Thursday when they host 7th-ranked Indianapolis. Well, we hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast despite the outcome. Join us for our next broadcast of Panther Women's Lacrosse, which will be Monday night at 7 p.m. when the Panthers host 16th-ranked Seton Hill. For my executive producer, Lindsay Whipple, my name is Jerry Durney, signing off from Rick Stotler Field on the campus of Florida Tech in Melbourne, where once again your final score tonight was Tampa 20, Florida Tech 12. You've been watching Florida Tech Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network, a presentation of the SSC Digital Network. Good night from Melbourne, and we'll talk to you on Monday.